Welcome back to Disturbing the Priest. I'm your host, Brandon Baddock, and we are back with This Month in Metal, this time covering February. What we do here, we just cover all the clickbaity shit going on that you see, just to find the truth in it or find the lies, to give you the facts here. That's what we do. What we're going to be doing each month is having a guest comedian join us to cover the metal. We're joined by Chris Post this month. What's going on, man?
Hey, Brandon. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, friend of the podcast, So there's a lot to cover. I'm not sure how much you've been paying attention. We talked about it a little bit.
Definitely the final Sabbath, Ozzy send-off. Yeah, absolutely. Following it closely. Yep.
It's been absolutely crazy, and I think we should just jump right into that shit.
Let's do it, man.
So, Nate, if you want to give us some of the deets here.
Yeah, so as you guys mentioned, Black Sabbath have announced their final show ever on July 5th in their hometown of Birmingham, Alabama, with all 4 original members. I didn't know they were from Birmingham, Alabama. I kind of assumed that they were British for some reason. Maybe because
Birmingham, Birmingham, England.
Here I was reading this. I'm like, it must be Alabama, right? America's the only country in the world. Change the one in England to Birmingham, Alabama. Fuck it. But yeah, Metallica's going to be there. Slayer's going to be there. Pantera, Gojira, Alice in Chains, Hailstorm, Lamb of God, Anthrax, and Mastodon are the opening bands with additional performances from solo musicians. And I don't know if you guys saw this on the poster, but maybe the most notable of all of these performers, maybe the most talented I saw, was that Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit. Because, I think that one of Ozzy's final performances should be covering bits and pieces of, Nookie. Or, they shouldn't even do Black Sabbath songs when Fred Durst gets up there, in my opinion.
I know when the genre was first created, they were thinking, hey, maybe in 25 years we can fuse this with hip-hop and, make, and turn it into what Limp Bizkit became. That was, I'm sure, their intention when the art form began,
100%, and close out Sabbath's final show. What's so crazy, too, is it's almost a Big Four reunion as well, without Dave Mustaine, which that's...
Well, there going to be room for that ego there?
Yeah, I know,
he probably wants to close it.
But, some of the musicians, and you could have had the Big Four, I think it's crazy. What other fucking band is where the opening acts are fucking, stadium bands? I
mean, this is, I don't know if we use the GOAT in just sports, but, this is the GOAT being sent off. And everyone should be there. I think Dave Mustaine also keeps note of whether anyone conflicts with his religious beliefs when he collaborates with them so far. I don't know everyone on the lineup to a T, but I know if anyone mocks Christianity now, he will not share a bill with them now. So that could be part of it.
Yeah, and with the amount of people on the bill, I think that's an issue.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm sure there is someone that, on the lineup that's like, Jesus is a douche, Not maybe in those words, but something along those lines. Well, yeah, I mean, if Slayer's there, Kerry King is probably maybe the most outspoken atheist in metal, so yeah.
Literally, their show starts with the crosses slowly inverting, so.
And Sabbath's, first logo was an upside-down cross, so yeah, maybe Dave Mustaine, doesn't want to be in part of that,
Exactly. And my question for you guys is, do you agree this should be happening? Do you think Sabbath should be doing a show right now?
This is, let me be clear, I don't know if hero is the right word, because, we've seen him act a fool so many times, but Ozzy Osbourne's been the most prominent artist in my life since I was probably 10 years old that I looked up to, musically, personality-wise, so many ways. Again, sorry to throw, did Michael Jordan play a few seasons too long? Did Tom Brady play one season too long? he can't walk, and that. And look, plenty as long as your voice still works, but can his voice still work? So that's the question.
Yeah.
Sharon said that his voice is better than ever.
Sharon is also their accountant, I believe, and calls all the shots. So I mean, I could see Sharon weekend at Bernie's and after he passes, So I mean, obviously. I don't know. I think we learned from the TV show that her family's mental health maybe isn't always priority one.
Right. She also said the paycheck's going to be better than ever too.
How much more money? I'm not going to try and veer off the road into politics here, but once you have a few mil, what else do you need? You got
the licensing, you got the merch.
Yeah.
You're making your kids can retire.
Yeah.
The babies who aren't even born yet in your generation are set for life. That whole family tree is set.
Yeah.
She's kind of smoking the roach right now of the legacy.
Scraping the bowl, definitely.
Yeah. She's taking res hits right now.
And that's fucked up because, Kelly Osbourne's made a career as her own as a singer. Jack Osbourne, I believe, is like a film director now. No one's hard up for cash over there. This should be about just giving the fans what they want one more time. And I don't know. Why trot out a shit project? You ever see Muhammad Ali's last couple of fights? It's depressing.
I saw Mike Tyson's recently.
Yeah, exactly. No one to fold, but obviously if this was in the U.S., I'd probably try and make a trip, not just on Sabbath alone, but the lineup itself.
Yeah, man, take away Sabbath from this and still possibly worth going overseas for.
Absolutely. Look at that. There's, you got several iconic bands. I've actually never seen Alice in Chains with William Duvall fronting. I would, because I think his voice is that good. And I think for Alice in Chains, a lot of people have gotten lost in the shuffle. Yeah, Lane Staley is dead, and that is tragic. Jerry Cantrell's the most important member of that band. Mm-hmm. He harmonized on every vocal with Lane and is the guitar player. He's the vital ingredient to that band. And if they brought in with William Duvall, who's a great fucking singer, I've enjoyed some of those albums since Lane passed. I think it's still worth a ticket.
100%. Yeah. But what's that? Nate, what's that ticket price looking like right now?
I saw,
because I was considering.
I'm scared to look.
I was considering it, man.
Humble $200 to $3,000, not including medicinal fees in resellers. I was kind of curious what medicinal fees is that like for Ozzy?
So it's like you got processing fees, because what Ticketmaster likes to do is add 5 fees that don't really make sense. They add all these fucking fees, and whatever the ticket price is that an artist is saying it is, which is what's written down there, it's going to be double.
Right.
Yeah. I was hearing stories of people paying like $7,000, $8,000 for not front row, for not VIP.
Yeah.
Just to be in the presence. It's so ridiculous. You got to take out a loan to see Ozzy in a wheelchair. It's fucking crazy.
It's insane. Metal's supposed to be this underdog genre, and when you see tickets going up to that price, it's like, what did we get ourselves into here? I think we've lost sight of what this is supposed to all be about, right? So many Sabbath songs are, probably against shit like this, and it's like, all right, well, if you paid a few grand to get over there, you're not even talking flights and everything. That's going to be insane, and so
you're maybe spending $10,000 in total.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I was watching like some people were saying the wait times, because there was like a queue. Mm-hmm. People were waiting until 5 a.m.
I went to an Ozfest where if you got in the queue early, I think it was 2007. Yeah. It was the year Lamb of God and Hatebreed were there. It was I got my ribs fucked up pretty good in that one, but if you got on in the first couple hours, it was a free ticket. No shit. This is not like,
what the fuck?
He's been this, like long time seller. This is 2007. So this was after the Osbournes were a TV show. They were still looking out for, the little guy. So I don't know what's happened since then.
But it's like metal's become like a yacht club now.
Yeah.
It feels, and then all the music is shitting on the rich. It's like, it's the irony is ridiculous.
It's very sad. And, and going to see, and I didn't go to Maiden that last time they were in Worcester. I mean, for a number of reasons. But yeah, that ticket price was absolute bullshit. I've seen them for as low as, I think, $30 before, you know? Yeah.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine paying $30 to see a band even nosebleed, man.
And that was in Worcester, actually. Yeah. This was like 03. Dio Solo was opening.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And it's like, you know, we were actually going to see that show.
Yeah.
I backed out for the same reason.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not paying $200.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend hit me up recently. He's seeing Dylan in Xfinity Center.
Yeah.
And he's like, we can get nosebleed for like $130. I'm like, are you fucking high?
What?
I'm like, no fucking way, man.
Dylan? Really? Mr. Beatnik himself.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Crazy.
Okay, well, maybe they'll do another part 2 with Timothy Chalamet, and he can talk about what a sellout he became. Like,
Timothy Chalamet as fucking... Who was the guy in the movie recently?
Bob Dylan?
Yeah, as Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Would be, and I don't know. That's a whole thing. I hate Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was good in the movie, actually. Yeah.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Are we missing anything else? Is that everything, Nate?
Well, the proceeds are going to be donated to Cure Parkinson's, Birmingham Children's Hospital, Acorn Children Hospice, Sharon Osbourne's G-Wagon, whatever drug she
Is that what
wants
she calls
to
a
do.
plastic surgeon now? Like, I mean, I don't even recognize her anymore. It's insane.
Her BBL, that's her G-Wagon.
Yeah.
It's like her face is like inflated.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing now.
Yeah.
I mean, like when your husband is considered like the most infamous drug addict in rock and roll of all time, and he looks more natural than you do. Like, what does that tell you? Yeah. This guy has done everything in the book and then some. I mean, and he looks like a more natural human. Like,
he does, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really, really nervous about this whole thing. I just want to say there's so many things during the concert. I'm just happy to see Iommi. That's really my main thing. Where like, to see Tony again will be fucking great. I'm nervous for Bill Ward because of his heart attacks and his health. He should have fucking been on the final live album since the beginning.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous that Ozzy had to be wheeled out of a hospital for this to happen. You know, and I really hope that, you know, someone doesn't drop dead the night before this tour, because we're kind of in that territory.
Sure.
You know, and also I do want to add. It came out, I think, 2 weeks after this whole thing was announced that Ozzy's going to be just doing bits and pieces.
Yeah.
That's insane.
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know nothing about vocal training. Why not condense it just to full songs? I mean, are we talking mashups? I mean, how does this
It wasn't really
even
clear,
work?
but Sharon said that because Ozzy's been completely like behind the curtain. God knows what's happening on his end.
Right.
He's got like 80 mechanics probably on him every day.
Yeah.
You know, where Sharon's doing all the press with Tony, and she's saying his voice is better than it's ever been. You know, he's probably being worked on like RoboCop right now.
Right.
You know?
Assembling him.
Yeah.
Comes out in like a Darth Vader suit.
Yeah.
Mask on, everything.
And you're hearing these things. Now he's just going to be doing bits and pieces. It's going to come out, you know, that he's actually just going to be in a hospital bed the whole time. He's going to just be taking a nap on stage, and you could just see him. It's like, are we just like drip feeding information until it's too late, you know? And people are like, well, I flew here and shit, and now it's.
I mean,
it just seems like kind of a political stunt, and I feel like it's something that maybe she knew the whole time.
Sure, she did. I mean, say whatever you want about Sharon Osbourne. This is not a dumb person. This is a very smart woman.
Conniving.
And this is the. Yeah.
But, I mean, look at all these great singers on the lineup. It's like, we can't have Tom Araya or Phil Anselmo or James Hetfield come in to step in and play and sing, or at least duet on some of these songs. These are all great, iconic, heavy metal singers. Randy Blythe. Like get someone to share the mic. I mean, again, any Sabbath fan worth their salt. I know the past probably 2 times I've gone, it was to just see Tony still sound like the most iconic heavy metal electric guitarist ever, and that's important. Yeah,
maybe even guitarist too.
Oh yeah. I mean, from a personal standpoint, no one does it more for me. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, invented a whole genre.
Yep.
Yeah.
With 2 cut off fingers. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And also with Sharon being the child of what's his name? Don
Arden.
Arden, you know? So
Yep. Yep.
God. Is that everything, Nate? For Sabbath?
This might sound more, but I feel like it's more than anything just like a tribute, like a pre-mortem tribute to like Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Is that like crazy to say? That this feels almost like it's like a celebration of all this, like, because they're basically saying like we're just gonna like pay tribute to him by like all coming on stage.
It's like an Irish wake before they die or something.
Yeah.
Basically. All right, bring your handle of whiskey and let's get on with it. Yeah.
And they did say that it's going to officially be his final show, Ozzy's final performance.
Look, Ozzy's been talking about retirement longer than he's been healthy in rock and roll. The first time this was entertained was the No More Tours tour in '92. That is, by my math, 33 years ago.
I saw that tour in 2022.
Yeah. So in 1992, Sabbath had started 23 years prior. So he's been talking about retirement longer than he's not been talking about retirement. Yeah. So, yeah. Look, I mean, a lot of these guys, you know, there's that romantic Keith Richards, Lemmy, like, you know, keeping going on forever, but no one's immortal. And, we're going to see it next with Keith.
Yeah. And before we move on, any cuts you want to see? And if you were to say, if there's any Sabbath song you want to hear them play?
Oh, Children of the Grave. That's probably my all-time favorite Sabbath song. And I've seen them play it live. They may have opened with it when I saw them in 2013. They were plugging that Rick Rubin produced 13. I believe.
13.
Yeah. 2013. Yeah. I believe they opened with that or War Pigs. But I mean, either way, just, you know, blow your head off. But they played it up top. It felt always more like a late show kind of song to me. But that's still my favorite riff. Just the way it's handled, and that whole Master of Reality vibe is still perfect. How about you?
Yeah, and such a simple fucking riff too. That's so great. Megalomania for me.
Oh, sure.
And I know they're never gonna do it.
No.
But my thing is, please. They kind of did it on the last one. Do a melody of Dio stuff and Tony Martin stuff. And do a little bit.
Ozzy will never do that.
I know, man. But,
he and Dio apparently buried the hatchet before he passed, but I mean that's never.
But Sharon hasn't, you know.
Right. You know, and it's like, you know, like Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth are never gonna be like, even at each other's funeral, like, yeah, all right, you know, rest in peace. I was better though.
I know I'll never hear that Zero the Hero riff again, but like I pray, you know, and I think if it's gonna be the final Sabbath show. Just, you know, and we're going to have, and Ozzy's going to be in and out, like at least do like a melody of some of the Tony Martin stuff and the Dio stuff. And the fact that Tony Martin isn't really invited or playing, but Rudy Sarzo is, and all these like Ozzy guys, I feel like, you know, Iommi and Sharon should have at least met halfway.
Sure. I mean,
you know?
And Jake E. Lee, I believe I see is on there too.
Yeah.
No Zach.
That no Zach.
But he'll be with Pantera there, so maybe he will.
It's so, the politics are so weird because like also Zach wasn't on like the last 2 Ozzy solo stuff.
Well, I think he was just busy with Black Label or maybe solo or whatever. I mean, he
said
family.
He didn't get a call.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I always considered them to be like family. Yeah.
Me too. He calls Sharon mom.
Yeah. And Ozzy's godfather to his kids too. I believe. Yeah.
What a godfather, man.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's that. Jesus, that's something I am very looking forward to watching a live stream of. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Bold prediction here. I think they're going to have a 16-minute cover of War Pigs where you see all of these additional performances come out like the Sugar Hill Gang and just pass the mic off one by one.
And just everyone does one line from War Pigs. Yeah.
Just never ends.
I'd like that.
Fred Durst rapping the lyrics.
Right. Just like witches at Black Masses.
Like he did with the, what's that, with a Metallica song they covered?
Sanctuary. Sanitarium.
Sanitarium.
Yeah, Welcome Home.
That was sick. I actually did like
that.
That
was
cover.
good. That was on that MTV Icons thing. I remember that. Yeah.
Which is, you think it'd be terrible.
But that actually, and that's still one of my favorite Metallica songs, actually.
Me too. Yeah. All right, let's move on. But we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
So the next piece of news, and Brandon, you can cover the tinfoil hat side of this a bit more, but Steve Zetro claims that Exodus fired him and Rob Dukes will replace him. Fans have speculated that the reason Zetro is in Exodus in the first place was because it was Chuck Billy's suggestion. Around the same time, Exodus was signed to Chuck's new management company, and now that Exodus no longer is managed by that company, fans are speculating that Gary saw this as an opportunity to kick Zetro out.
Yeah. And that's some like Reddit conspiracy, you know, and that's what a lot of people are talking about. There's people who are saying, you know, I talked to him and this is what he's saying, you know, so it's like, take it with a grain of salt. But the thing is, if you're not going to be open with a lot of the shit, people are going to speculate, you know, and I think that's like, there's a lot of evidence to that. And I think that is very possible that that's happening. I'm kind of shocked he's out of Exodus. I thought he was pretty
30,
great.
35 years in?
Yeah.
I mean,
and they're going back to Rob Dukes, who's saying that he was surprised when he was hit up, being like, what the fuck?
Sousa replaced Paul Bailoff originally, though, right?
I think so, yeah.
So like 90-ish probably, right?
We might be talking like 91 or
91,
something.
okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
you
in
know,
that ballpark.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So it's just really weird. And then Gary Holtz is like really just keeping all this in the dark. Like he was interviewed about it. He's like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. But I do want to say, if you knew what would happen, you know, you would understand.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. I think it's also like political differences too, because
there's a lot of that now.
Yeah. And Gary's kind of been like the very like California liberal.
Oh yeah, he's
know?
a vegan, I believe.
Yeah. Where
not for nothing, he looks as good as any aging metal rocker out there. He looks still ripped and you know, looks like he takes good care of himself. Sounds great on stage. I saw him with Slayer right before COVID, and they sounded terrific. Yeah.
Me too, man. And you can hear it in his playing. He even said he feels like he's playing the best he ever has.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, and I don't know, man, he kind of did have like a little bit, you know, that like front man ego mentality too. And people were saying like he was just like smoking weed everywhere and would just be like fucked up all the time before and after shows. Which is fine. If you're in Exodus, man.
Yeah.
If you're the singer of Exodus, you know, fucking go for it.
Right.
But it is kind of Gary's ship.
Oh, yeah,
you know?
he is their Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
It's been a revolving door, multiple frontmen, and he's been the big guy there the whole time. He is their Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
Never left. And
he got Hammett's blessing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. With Kirk Hammett's blessing. Whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He works at like a hotel somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. It's his ship, and I mean, yeah, it was kind of. I think, you know, if you want to get into a punk thing, Johnny Ramone was like that too. It was like this is an army, and I am the general, kind of, and I call the shots. Yeah, I mean, you hear these stories start to veer off a little about, you know, any Ramone that wasn't one of the originals, like they were a hired gun, basically. I think GnR was kind of like that with some of their guys once, you know, some of the core guys left, like
Buckethead.
Yeah. And like Johnny Ramone, you know, and I'm sure this is translated into other bands, like do as you're told, like basically, you know, like down to every, like what you wear. Dave Mustaine's like that too.
Or Dave Mustaine, you got to be straight edge. You got to work out. You know, it is tight fucking ship.
One of the guitarists in that long string, I can't even remember. Al.
In who?
In Megadeth. Al,
Jesus.
It was around 2000, so it was like.
Yeah,
it was like right after Friedman, whoever replaced Marty Friedman, I think, and he was like, for his audition, he was like, "Yeah, I'll be there. I'll nail all the solos with a cigarette hanging out of my mouth." And Dave Mustaine goes, "We don't smoke in this band." Like, he's like, "You don't even have the gig yet, and you're already being dictated to about like life."
Dress business casual, motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, No, in his autobiography, he talks about that, like, you know, after him and Ellefson, you know, Jr. like hired new guys, like. This is how you will wear your hair. These are the jeans you wear. This is the jewelry you will wear. Like, you know, everything, basically. You're kind of programmed,
Yeah.
He was so pissed off after Metallica telling him that, like, he was too individual. He's like, I'm never going to be controlled again. I'm controlling everybody else.
Dave Mustaine, I do respect so much, because if you know the details of that story, that guy had two paths when he got thrown out. It was like, all right, I'll go die in a gutter, or I will go be the second best metal band in the world after the guys that threw me out. It actually is a pretty inspiring story.
Pure vengeance, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
And create the greatest thrash metal album of all time.
So yeah, to any
opinion.
comics out there, yes, be fueled by spite. Yes.
Yeah, just because you don't get on the show. You know?
Yes. Yes.
Just because you don't get booked.
Yeah. Show that booker I will do a better bar show for $8 for 10 minutes and maybe a free beer. Yes.
Yeah, instead of 3 people, get 4 people.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
God.
Showbiz, baby.
Yeah, man. Oh, God. All right. And before we move on, just out of curiosity, who do you prefer vocally? Because I fuck with Rob Dukes, but I don't know, man. Like,
I mean, I just love Paul Bailoff for the rawness.
well, obviously, the best. Yeah.
Oh, but
between
Rob-
Zetro and...
Zetro.
Zetro, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm blanking. Who sings for Testament?
Chuck Billy.
Chuck Billy's will be my... Actually, between the 3 of them, will be my
I love
favorite.
Chuck Billy. I love Testament, period. They're fantastic. Still, I mean, it's been over a decade, but yeah, I saw Chuck Billy after he beat cancer, too, and he still sounded amazing.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And he there is a few tapes of him singing for Exodus.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's close to Bailoff territory.
Yeah.
Like, excellent.
I always call them the bastard children of the big 4, Exodus and Testament. Like, all right.
They need a small 4. You know, the 4. I think we did talk about that.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, we'll see. I'm looking. I've never seen Rob Dukes with Exodus, so
I've never seen them in any incarnation. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Honestly,
Yeah.
I think it kind of does suck, but like as a fan, it's cool to see like both eras.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
for sure.
Guys, let's talk about some real motherfucking rock stars now. Kid Rock recently stormed off stage at a show in Nashville after people didn't applaud loudly enough for him.
Sounds like a comic bombing.
It absolutely. I have a video that I'll play, and it's so much like that.
Yeah.
And should I play the details or give the horribly incriminating first character details first? Let's just watch the video.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, for this, you know, on Spotify and streaming, it's like a video form you can see, and on YouTube there'll be like a little thing you can.
It's worth your 30 seconds of your time to look up this video because it is so characteristically defining of Kid Rock. It's so fucking funny.
Stop. If you ain't gonna clap, we gonna sing. That's how it's gonna work. You know what?
Now, something I want to draw your attention to. If you look in the background, you might see a happy birthday arrangement of balloons. That's because this is at a birthday party for the keyboardist for Bon Jovi, who you see at center stage.
Oh my God, David Bryan. Yeah.
dude.
Holy shit. Wow.
Dude, he'd be the kid at your birthday party who would get pissed that he like can't blow out your candles.
Right. Well, I mean, it's also like Jeb Bush, like that please clap moment. Like you couldn't even, get them to do that for you.
Jesus
He's like, where's
Christ.
my present? You guys didn't bring me a present on his birthday? What the fuck?
He's like, you paid $200 for tickets and you owe me. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
It's like it's so bullshit when
Yeah.
like musicians expect fans to act a certain way when they're paying like $300. Let them do whatever the fuck they want. If they want,
Yeah.
like if they want to record the whole show on their phone, who gives a shit? You know, it's like they paid $400 or whatever for the bullshit. You know, if they want to waste their time looking at it through a screen, you know, unless you're really giving people a deal and you're doing like actually like affordable like ticket prices, I can see that. But it's just like, I don't know, man, it kind of feels unfair. It's like, let me just fucking do whatever I want. Like I don't have to act a certain way as your audience.
Well, bro, it's so funny because he's like, if you guys aren't going to clap, I'm going to leave. You can see on the video that everybody is clapping. Like, what more do you want?
Woman right in front
You
of
asked for an applause at your not birthday party, and then you're like, all right, fuck it. I guess I'm just going to go.
Oh my God.
it. Yeah, Phil Anselmo used to have a rep for that too. I don't know if he would walk off stage, but it
Yeah,
was pretty
yeah.
much
He
like,
would just scream
you're
white
not,
power.
you're not beating the shit out of each other to my liking.
Where's the
that's
blood?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. And it's like, it's for this guy's fucking birthday party,
Right.
man. And he's a friend of yours.
Right.
It's just so ridiculous.
No class. Yep.
No class at all.
It is so much like a comic bombing, too. And I'll bring this up. So they were doing like this rotating cast thing where essentially like different guests would come up and do like one or two songs. This is in the middle of the first song he was up there doing. It was a cover, mind you. Proud Mary by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
I'm sure Tina Turner would have been later covered by Tina Turner. Yes, yeah.
Like, and it's like being in your first joke on stage, and you say like one thing, and you're like, if you guys aren't gonna laugh, I'm not gonna do this shit.
Right? Yeah. How many times have you gone up and your opener didn't land? It's like you're not. Yeah, and I mean, our sorry asses. This guy's got how many millions? It's like, all right, you power through. Aren't you supposed to be a professional here?
I saw 3
He's
of
the
you
American
not laughing.
badass, dude.
Yeah.
He's America's most sensitive badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I can't believe The Undertaker took his theme music. That's insane. Yeah. Damn.
God, it doesn't fucking end, man. Then it's like some of this metal news is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
But yeah, all right. Well, hopefully he's feeling better,
He's not.
He's gonna call Trump after and be like, "Yo, you gotta deport all the people that were at that show. I don't care where they came from."
That's how you can tell if they're illegal,
Yeah.
They're not clapping along to Proud Mary. God.
All right, in some lighter news, a plane owned by Vince Neil crashed into a jet, and the pilot died.
Vince Neil was involved in someone dying in a motor vehicle accident? That's
Dude.
never happened. Sorry, that's
I will
pretty
never
grim.
come
That's
close
pretty
to a
grim.
vehicle that has Vince Neil's name on it.
How has this guy already been in jail for vehicular manslaughter? And he says, "Hold my beer," literally, and it's like, "We can do a plane next time."
He's like, "Guys, I'll never drive again. That's why I got this designated pilot who's gonna take us everywhere."
How do you be in a band with Tommy Lee and you're the scumbag?
I know. Yeah, it's gonna be a boat next.
Yeah, probably my favorite band where everyone in that band is just an awful person.
Yeah, just terrible,
just
man.
terrible. And you talk about seeing a bad show live. Yeah, that's. I mean, obviously it's been, sadly celebrated. I'm not trying to, kick, dance on graves or anything, but yeah, I saw them about, I think, 10 years ago with Kiss, and other than seeing Tommy Lee do the upside down drumming, some people just need to know when to pack it in. I understand, he's probably just got legal bills at this point to address, but it's just very sad to watch, man.
He can't get a fucking break, man.
Yeah.
Like Nate was also asking before the podcast, he's like, I know Nikki Sixx, why is Vince Neil not as popular?
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
actually, Nikki Sixx, now, since he got sober, seems like a good guy, but
a little bit of a businessman scumbag,
again, you talk about the captain steering the ship. He's always been there. Yeah,
in retrospective.
Yeah. He
100%.
was always their marketing guy. Yeah. Every band's got one. I think Metallica had Lars. Shit
Mustaine,
like that. Yeah,
obviously.
I don't know who Slayers is. Maybe Carrie. I don't know. But
maybe Tom.
Yeah, Tom or Carrie. Yeah. Definitely, because only 2 permanent members, so it's got to be one of them.
Yeah. But just it's so ridiculous, man. What a joke of a band right now.
Yeah. So what happened? He was fine, but someone else died in it.
So he has this private jet with this private pilot, and his 30 years younger than him girlfriend named Rain.
Because of course, yes.
Right, because that's just fitting. That's her friend and the pilot were all in this plane. And it I don't know what happened, but it lost control while they were on the runway taking off. Vince Neil wasn't there, conveniently.
Oh,
yeah.
Kind of suspicious. Not saying anything official, but it veered into another plane that was parked, and they were fine except for the pilot.
The pilot died.
Right.
Yeah.
The most innocent person probably on that plane.
Sure.
Honestly.
Yeah. The only guy that didn't have blow in his system. Yeah.
Literally the most sober person
right. Yeah.
that's
how
ever been in that plane.
Yeah.
I can't. It's like it never fucking ends, man. With Motley Crue, it's always something. You know, it's either his singing or with McMars.
Yeah.
It's like fucking always something with that band, and it's like it's always such different. It's so different. All the shit, you know, with McMars and the lawsuit and the like everything. He kind of became a whistleblower. The band with the backing tracks and everything, and then Vince is a fucking idiot, and then that whole thing came out where he's doing cameos.
Oh my god!
Did you see that?
No, I did
where
not.
he was doing cameos wasted. Wasted in like an airport, and it's like you can see like half of his face, and he just goes happy
And
birthday.
you see the TGI Fridays logo in the background.
He's still got barbecue sauce on his
Right.
face, you know.
You just hear "Welcome to Tallahassee" in the background.
It's
That's
like
with a burp, you know.
Yep.
Oh god.
it's like if you made a band entirely out of Axl Roses.
Yeah.
Just every single person was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yet somehow survived.
Yeah. I actually saw them a few years ago. Axl did carry his weight, so to speak, though. That was good and sounded amazing, and Duff sounded good. So I would say I might go see again. I
Really?
would say that. Yeah, I think those guys, I don't know what happened with them, but some of those guys, I don't know, they got humble enough through either sobriety or what, but those guys were like, let's just put the egos on the shelf. They kind of did it right. Like, and then let's just go out and do this thing. Yeah.
It's like, wait, we only have 3 good albums.
Yeah.
Maybe
the
we
funny
should shut the
thing,
fuck up. You know.
That is so funny about like bands like that are kind of like these, like, I don't know, like Comets or something like that. Nirvana was kind of like that too. Like they just had a 2-year run. You want to go way back? Cream is like that. You know, Cream was only together for like 2-3 years either. You
But
know,
the thing is, like, also like Cream didn't put out any like bullshit. You know, it was just
and some would say
sh-
Nirvana too.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, you got the spaghetti incident. I will say, Chinese.
I got into a lot of punk through the spaghetti incident because I was so little when it came out. I was like, who are the Misfits? So like, because like my friend's older brother would get all the GnR stuff. So like, I'm like a little kid, like spaghetti incident, and then I'm listening to them, and the liner notes had who it was originally by. So I'm like, you know, a kid just being like, who are the Misfits, and who are the New York Dolls, who is Iggy Pop? Like, so after that, I owe a lot to that album for the research it made me do for a lot of punk.
Yeah, it's a cover album.
Yeah, it's all covers. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I was so disgusted by the cover.
Oh yeah. So apparently it's a reference to a lawsuit they had with Steven Adler, their first drummer. I don't know much beyond that, but yeah.
Interesting.
So,
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all
Them
punk
doing
covers.
covers is interesting.
So actually, one song off that album I still crank is "Ain't It Fun," and they cover the Dead Boys on it, and
Oh,
it's
it's
still
awesome.
fucking amazing. Yeah,
I'll have to check that shit out
Check it
then.
out. It's still just something to really blast in the car, definitely.
Yeah, I do kind of fuck with Chinese Democracy though. I
liked better. It was alright in a weird way.
I'm such a Buckethead fan.
Yeah, I know you
know?
are. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we all have our
but-
dark secrets.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll be honest, like it really like
I
it
like a few
doesn't.
Van Hagar songs. We all have our weak spots. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Come on. Yeah. I'm sorry. Toss my street cred right down on the table. Yeah. Sometimes
in
something
4K,
just
you know.
something sounds good. Sometimes what can you do?
Yeah, but
No.
like honestly, if you compare it to like you know, Appetite, it doesn't fucking. It
Well,
doesn't.
they set the bar so high with one of the 10 best rock albums of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, like
debuts too.
debuts.
So, like,
I think that and the first Boston album are the biggest debuts of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Appetite did the only other artist I've ever seen do this where it's like was Biggie, because it was like, oh, you can be commercially successful and every grimy fucking person that listens to your genre is still gonna love you, and you didn't lose any street cred or respect with your core fan base.
Yeah,
like they
that is
found
interesting,
They
yeah.
found a way to flip like have their cake and eat it too. Yeah, sell records and still really not compromise your integrity. Yeah,
and then sold their cake for drugs. You know.
yeah.
Like with the whole like when they were on tour with Metallica and shit.
Yeah,
What a
I
fucking
love the
nightmare.
Illusions too. There's some fat on the bone on those albums, but I do love the Illusions. There's so many great songs on both.
They
of
just
them.
decided we just can't just have 2 good albums and that's it. You know?
Yeah, yeah. The funny thing is too. What the funny thing about the Illusions is too, like how much more production obviously is done into Matt Sorum, who's a great drummer, not just in GnR but the Cult as well.
Oh, great band too.
Because he was like, I thought I was joining this kick-ass rock and roll band, and then they cued in November Rain. He goes, "What's with the fucking piano?" Yeah. I mean, November Rain. I remember that video. I was like, I feel like I'm in a gospel church or something like that. It was like so many singers. Like, I think they were going for what the Stones were going for around, like, you can't always get what you want, something like that.
And it was a bit of ego, I think, at the same time of like, this, we're gonna make it epic.
Sure.
You know, we're master songwriters.
Right. And that's what they were trying for Chinese Democracy, and it took 15 fucking years.
Yeah, and it was a disaster.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Oh, it needs a little more Linkin Park in it," right?
Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah,
like if you listen to Better, it's like you could tell they were listening to a Linkin Park album. Like sprinkle, like we need a little put a little pepper of that on it.
And I hate to say that was like the first Guns N' Roses album I ever listened to.
No, I mean,
because I was like a kid,
sure,
and like my friend was like, "Yo, I'm into like GnR. Check out their new album."
It's like getting into Priest for Turbo or something.
I know, that's how I feel. I'm like, I have to like, it's my sin.
No, actually, I remember getting into Kiss. Yeah, actually, my friends, my friend's brother, my friend's next door neighbor, like those are the guys that like got me into shit, and like I got into Kiss when the makeup was off. Like as a little kid, it was like.
Seen him on MTV doing Unplugged or some shit.
I was like, this Gene's uglier without makeup. It was like, go back to being a demon. You're more handsome. Like, you're one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah,
like,
and to put a bow on the Guns N' Roses stuff, they are working on a record. They've been working on a record for the past decade.
Yeah.
Because I see it every few months, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot they're working on a fucking album. So
yeah, I saw them right after lockdown was ending. I think the first summer, like the summer after lockdown ended, so like 2021, and Axl was talking about that record, and that's 4 years ago now. So
yeah. It's gonna be 3 LPs. It's gonna be 2 good songs.
It's like, can we just cut this down to one crisp album?
Yeah.
I still think about that about the White Album with the Beatles. I'm like, that's one of my favorite albums. I'm like, God, if you could have just chucked like these 4 songs, this would be my favorite album of yours.
I've always kind of hated double albums. I think it only works if it's like a concept album.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's how I like The Wall and shit. Like, I think there's a few exceptions.
Live albums that can be done.
Live albums, of course.
Live After Death, Thin Lizzy, Live and Dangerous.
I think that's maybe the best example.
Yeah. Cream Wheels of Fire, I think, is a double album.
But
Zeppelin song remains the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like they're the most listenable when you're like sitting down, like way in the future, like The Wall and stuff like that. Like that was easy to listen to because you like hear how awesome it is and you kind of know what you're getting into. But I can't imagine like just buying a new double album that comes out and being like, let me commit like an hour and 20 minutes to listening to this.
Yeah, and you got to flip it 4 times. Like that's the thing with like Iron Maiden, and I think we talked about this when we did an episode. Of like the last record, I bought it on vinyl because I was working at a record store and I got it for like $10. It was 4 fucking LPs.
That's too much.
It's like, and some of them were like a song aside. It's like, what the fuck.
And I'm a huge Maiden fan, but they've had some couple albums the past 20 years. I'm just like, this is it. Like some of the songs are just like you hear like someone doing a Netflix hour and just like they're doing like a 10-minute story. I'm like, there are 3 pops in this 10-minute story. Even like your garden variety open micer would be like, there's too much fat on the bone here. Like, you could have trimmed so much of that. Like, we did not need to know that.
Not every song has to be Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
Right. Oh my God. So there's an old joke about Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. The only reason it ever got airplay was because it gave the DJ enough time to go smoke a joint and come back. And like actually comfortably smoke a joint because it's like 13 and change.
That was like and before that was like the Inagata Davida.
Right. Well, maybe it became a pissing contest after Zeppelin, where it's like, oh, you got a 9-minute song, I'll show you my dick's bigger. It's like who can bomb longer.
Yeah, I know. And then Sleep was like, hold my joint.
Oh god, dude. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yeah. Literally one song per. Yeah.
An hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I played it on air before.
I know people that are into Sleep that don't smoke weed. I'm like, how does that work? Like,
it's like, do you get high off the music?
Yeah, contact high, dude.
Yeah, Electric Wizard too. I knew a guy that was like straight edge, and he was like, I love Electric Wizard. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I know, man. I when I first saw them, I'm like, I have to just. I think I smoked like 4 joints before I saw them.
Yeah,
I gave my ticket to some random guy.
Right.
I'm like, here, man. He's like, I'm not the fucking. I don't work for the club, dude.
Right.
Like, it was so fucking, and it was crazy, man.
Yeah.
They're so great. And they're putting out a record. But all right.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, so the next one, ex-Venom guitarist Jeff Mantis Dunn says he hates Tony Dolan. And to quote the article, he said he really doesn't like Tony Dolan. So I just want to clear the air in case any of them hear this and then there starts a rumor that he hates him. He just really doesn't like him.
It's crazy. It's crazy to hear that, man, because I had Tony Dolan on my podcast like a month ago, and I asked him about it. And he's like, yeah, Mantis had the heart attack, and he just can't tour with us anymore. I'm like, is he going to write music? And he's like, yeah, hopefully he's going to do like music for like, you know, when we do more Venom Inc albums and stuff, he'll do some like ghostwriting and shit. And I'm like, are you guys good? He's like, oh yeah, we have a great thing going. And then I see this article like a fucking 2 weeks later. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we were good until he stabbed me in the back by having a heart attack, the piece of shit. This guy has the balls to have 2 heart attacks. We're trying to run a band here.
Well, he's getting the headlines because of the heart attacks. That's the problem. Yeah.
It could be. It's good promotion. I mean,
yeah, your heart attacks are yucking my yum. Like,
dude.
Yeah.
It's just in Venom famously, dude. It's like just constant shit throwing.
And they were always, and I always loved them, but there was something so Spinal Tap about them that like it's hard to take some of this seriously sometimes. You know?
Yeah,
it's like. Sometimes these guys are just having a bad day and like and shit like that and like you listen to old like wrestlers like talk about guys like this, like, you know, one minute they're like, oh, Vince McMahon, yeah, I'd be homeless without Vince McMahon, you know, like, and stuff like that, and then they interview him like a year later, he's like, biggest piece of shit ever. Like, you know,
where before it was like my best friend,
right?
You know, he was always there for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure that, you know, there's a lot of that in comedy too, obviously.
In every art form,
pretty much, I guess. Yeah, you're dealing with performers like that all the time. Yeah,
it's just so funny. It's like, imagine doing this in your early 20s and then thinking, I'll be 60, you know, having this same fucking drama and be doing it live and stuff. It's so crazy.
Are we saying Metallica did the right thing by going to couples therapy? Maybe they did nip something in the bud, even though, you know, they got mocked and ridiculed for all eternity, and, you know, in some circles maybe some people never came back, but yeah,
at least
also, if you got that in your budget, maybe do it, you know, for an hour a week.
Well, if anyone wants to be Venom's therapist, you know, I think they need it for sure. But the thing is, now Venom Inc, there's no original Venom members. Yeah.
This has happened in a few bands, where there's no originals left. I feel like Queensryche, I think, has toured with without Jeff Tate and maybe like a bass player or something like that, who's really good. I can't remember their bass player's name off the top of my head, but Queensryche has done stuff like that. A lot of bands do that. Yeah.
You think they should keep going, or do you think
who's this, Venom?
Venom Inc.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple legal glitch. I mean, you know, nothing says, you know, metal more than a different legal entity, like an incorporated, you know, like you're a law firm. But I mean, aside from that, I mean, they still have a very cultish fan base. I'm sorry to say, I've never seen them, actually. I don't. Did they ever come to Boston or Worcester?
I saw Venom Inc. 4 weeks ago.
No shit. See,
you had a hideout.
That's
it was on Wednesday.
Yeah. Fucking comedy ruins everything.
I know,
I have no other interests anymore.
It's either have comedy drama or metal drama.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
but
it's funny to be in the middle of this. You know, like because I've been in so much comedy drama of like just open mic bullshit, and now it's like cool. I'm in some like metal drama.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. You're stepping up in the world.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, so that's that. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think I don't know, man. I hope it's all settled. But it was funny because after that article came out, Tony Dolan shared it and captioned it with the shrug emoji.
I'm guessing that's his assistant doing that for him.
He's like, whoops.
Low key, this guy's cooked.
All right.
All right. So, is this our last one?
This is the last one. And I feel like just in all these things we've been talking about, like so many of these bands, they go through like the great filter of like time where like they'll have these 2 awesome albums and then it's like the real test is like, can you just manage all of these like artists and not have like every fucking issue in the world come up in like, or have somebody like die or something like that. It's kind of crazy that even like Motley Crue survived as long as they did.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so the final story, we started with Ozzy, we'll end with Ozzy. Ozzy recently got sued by a photographer for posting his pictures without his permission. Now, there's a lot of like, his is going around there. So to clarify, Ozzy Osbourne posted a picture of himself taken by a photographer, and now he's getting sued for like millions of fucking dollars.
Do you know the photographer? Is it Ross Hamlin? Because he's like the heavy metal photographer. I know that.
Yeah,
But,
dude, that'd be
I wonder
crazy.
if that was because he's been like one of the gang for like 50 years.
That'd be wild.
Like he is the heavy metal photographer. I hope it's not him because he's always been.
I think that would like ruin his reputation completely.
Yeah.
Going
you would
after
think
like
so.
Ozzy on his deathbed.
But yeah,
you know?
But what a little like that's the most absurd shit ever. I think like it's because I'm guessing that's not the first photo he's taken of Ozzy. So
Yeah.
it's like how the fuck does that even happen?
Neil Zlazauer.
Oh yeah,
is the
he's a
guy's
big
name.
one too. Yeah,
Oh, is
yeah,
he?
yeah. They used to interview him on all those behind the musics too. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know. Someone's hungry for a paycheck. I guess that's.
It's kind of fucked up. Like this dude's literally like kind of like falling apart behind the
Yeah.
scenes,
Yeah.
and you're like, let me just get my fucking checkbook in there real quick.
That's so.
I want to
fucked,
retire too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, there's still some milk in this cow. Let's fucking squeeze this.
Also,
shit.
I mean, like, yeah, I wouldn't even, you talk about it's like you're not even scared of Ozzy. You're scared of Sharon, who's like a fucking
Yeah.
bull in a china shop when it comes to lawsuits. I mean, she's been handling his legal affairs. I mean, Ozzy's been on trial for the suicide solution thing where the kid killed himself. I can't remember what
That
he
was
was
the
charged
Tipper
with.
Gore shit.
Yeah, it was after the PMRC or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been to court for way worse than that. I mean, and beaten more fucked up charges. Him and Judas Priest both got sued. Or I don't know. I don't think they were criminal charges, but absolutely
it wasn't, no.
civil suits probably.
I think there were civil suits.
They were just looking for a payday
for like suicide solution,
which
and
is
shit.
an absurd one because it's
Yeah.
about Bon Scott drinking himself to death. It's not, it's not,
Yeah.
it's actually more of a warning than anything. Yeah. What's more rock and roll than suing someone like that? And that's the fucking thing. Yeah, all these lawsuits are rock and roll. Like, geez, Lemmy was really the only real one. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Lemmy,
Fact.
he was the most authentic rock star ever. He never owned a home. He lived in a 1-bedroom fucking apartment till the day he died because he was like, I live on the road. Why do I need a mansion and a swimming pool? So,
Yeah,
After Lemmy,
exactly.
there's no rock stars left. Yeah.
Like fucking exactly, and
Yeah.
it's so sad to see.
Yeah.
But all right, let's fucking wrap this up. This has been awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
It's been fun.
It's been
course.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm Brandon Baddick, and this is Disturbing the Priest.